This is for the hybrid war that Goji guy made. The rules are no swarm creatures, means that you cannot have like a colony of the same hybrid. The second rule is just no non-aquatic animals, so you're only supposed to do aquatic and semi-aquatic animals. So at most you could do hippos, crocodiles, and maybe some aquatic birds like ducks or storks. So that out of the way, let's continue.
Mrs. General Secretary! Vex has been spotted! She's heading towards the Bay of Bengal. We'll be waiting for your orders. In the meantime, we'll see what we can do about this. Thank you, Mr. General Secretary.
Boss, Vex is destroying another boat!
That's so. Roger that. General, gather all our scientists. We're making a biological weapon this time. It seems conventional means won't be able to deal with this abomination. What a whale, crocodile, tylosaur this thing is. Gather them all. We'll create a creature to destroy Vex.
Yes, sir. We're gathering our scientists right this instant, now.
We have gathered together a group of scientists to create a bioweapon or a hybrid to deal with Vex. Our scientists are very much under-resourced in terms of genomes. We do not have prehistoric animals in our genome stores, so we'll be sticking to mostly invertebrates for creating our hybrid. To avoid creating such a mishmash and abomination similar to Hank, we've also decided to avoid creating a swarm creature, so we won't have a similar outbreak similar to what is happening in Costa Rica with this new dragonfly hybrid. Furthermore, add on to our ecological conservations, we will not give our creatures the ability to swarm as we mentioned. Costa Rica is already in havoc. We do not want Asia to go into havoc. So further on, our hybrid would be similar to the Indom, have its reproductive abilities stricken away from it. We also kept the genome small, just as small as the Indom 2.0, which is quite bigger than our other competitors, but this is better than our first plan, which has around 16 genomes. But by law of selection, we have narrowed it down to just the bare essential to deal with Vex. We also calculated our hybrid's ability to deal with the other hybrids that it'll meet that the other companies and nations have sent to the ocean to deal with Vex. This will be an all-out war. An all-out war, a hybrid war. First contributor will be the American lobster, chosen for its large size, a record-breaking of 1.6 meters. But given this is not huge enough for Vex, but further modifications will be helped. We would make the body more streamlined, but most importantly, we'll give it the ability to not stop growing. We'll block the hormones that stop it from growing, so our hybrid would exponentially grow. But for efficacy, we'll give it a cap of 3.3 meters for both efficiency and efficacy as mentioned. The American lobster was also chosen for its very good synergy with the other genomes. Next to the genome is the mud crab. This answers a few questions. Given the size of our hybrid of 3.3 meters, it will take 40 years of juvenile hybrid growth rates to even reach such a size. But with our calculations, using the similar techniques InGen uses, and the genome of the mud crab, it'll only take half a year for our lobster to reach such a size, given that the mud crab has extremely fast molting cycles. Other than this, we're also giving it instincts to eat muck and filter it, which we will explain later on. The mud crab has great potential and great size to offer. But when the crustaceans molt, they're in a very vulnerable state. The extreme molting will give our hybrids a lot of difficulties in surviving, considering crustaceans are the most vulnerable after they molt. Considering that lobsters have to hide in caves for weeks or even months just to harden their shell. Our genome here, the horseshoe crab, is chosen for its particularly good ability to harden its shell immediately. It absorbs the nutrients around it and hardens in a quick fashion. Other than the molting and the quick shell hardening, will give it the copper-rich blood of the horseshoe crab, giving it extreme regeneration, able to recover any injury in just moments. Not really recover, but able to scab up its wounds. And maybe after fighting Vex, our hybrid will have the ability to regrow its limbs and further on survive. Given all that, our hybrid would need to have a stable source of food. Just hunting and scavenging won't be enough. So we'll see that the Bay of Bengal is full of mangrove trees. So we think a good contributor would be the gribble worm. It's a type of arthropod that lives underwater and has the ability to process wood in its stomach. This will be useful as our hybrid could easily lift off just eating wood. We'll give it the gut biome and the guts of the gribble worm, so it could easily digest the cellulose and the tree fibers, giving it a very good diet and won't really starve to death. Next on is the water bug, specifically the giant water bug. This genome here is to help our hybrid with hunting instincts. The water bug is an extremely effective predator in its environment. We chose it for a couple abilities, but mostly for its metabolism and its strength. It having spring-loaded muscles all across its body, kind of similar to the mantis shrimp, and its fat stores and good use of carbs, giving it a good and effective way of using its energy, giving it a higher metabolism. This will be useful against Vex, as our hybrid would be more able to chase after Vex or even lunge at her. But with just normal lobster appendages, our hybrid won't be able to chase up to Vex or even harm her. We already have the genome of the water bug, which works in congruity with the mantis shrimp. Hurting Vex with this genome would be very useful, as the mantis shrimp will contribute two things with its explosive power. Being called the thumb splitter, the mantis shrimp has clubs that could accelerate at 23 meters a second. This is the strength of a small caliber bullet. With an instant, it could easily shatter shells and glass with its small size. But Krieg, due to his bigger size, wouldn't have this much acceleration, but still be very strong due to the mechanics of the mantis shrimp. But again, other than the claws, we'll be giving it the appendages, the back appendages of the mantis shrimp, which works in tandem with the water bug genome, which has a similar mechanism. With this, our hybrid would be able to catch up with Vex at high speeds. Unlike Vex, our hybrid would be able to burst instantly instead of having to get momentum. So mantis shrimp is one of the best contributors and our main means of hurting Vex or even killing Vex. And maybe an effective means of defeating the other hybrids due to the clubs having high amounts of force and being able to create shock waves. We calculate after every single genome, every single club would weigh around 35 to 40 something kilograms. It estimated that our club would be able to produce 1 meganewton of force onto Vex. With this, the front face of our genome or hybrid would be an instant kill zone for Vex. Just one single hit could easily tear through her blubber and skin. It could easily shatter bones and rupture organs on the inside. So with this, our hybrid has now have a kill zone for Vex. The Antarctic krill is a very weak pig, but it's a very good one at that. For its high fat stores, it'll be a good resource for our own hybrid, boosting its own stamina and giving it fat stores so it can store more energy and have more efficient movement. Other than this, we'll give our hybrid the shrimp's bioluminescence, which doesn't sound like a good trait, but it'll be a bait for Vex and the other hybrids, making them go closer and be curious about what our hybrid is. With now powerful front-facing claws, our hybrid would lure creatures in and immediately kill them in an instant. Though the claws are weaker than the normal mantis shrimp, it'll still be a powerful, very strong weapon. It won't be as strong per ratio, but it'll be stronger by force. As we already mentioned, 1 meganewton. This creature is considered a very good pick, but we chose another isopod other than Illinoria. We chose the giant isopod, but the giant isopod has more under the hood, considering it's a very weird creature living in the depths of the ocean. We'll be giving our hybrid its jaws, able to crunch through shells. This would be nothing compared to Vex, but this will be good for its own adaptations. Such a bite would be very inefficient, but we'll keep it. We'll also give our hybrid the ability to store food more easily. Given that it has the fat stores of our Antarctic krill, it'll have a higher amount of fat in its own body. With the oxygen that the water bug gives it, it'll have a layer of fat and air in its body, giving it higher buoyancy. And this will give it the oxygen absorbent gills of the isopod. Given this, it could also go on land considering the mud crab DNA. It'll have more stamina, but it'll be nothing compared to Vex's lungs. A hybrid would also be a many types of water hybrid, able to go into fresh, brackish, and even salty water, considering the lobster genomes and the other animals in our genome that are able to go into fresh and salt water. Last but certainly not least is the scaly-footed gastropod. But with all this power exerted by the claws, we'll need a shock absorbent material, or a material to avoid from shattering, as a chitinous shell or exoskeleton won't be able to absorb all the force our hybrid will be exerting. This happens thanks to Hank, showing that if so much force will be exerted, it'll destroy our hybrid's arms. Hank was not built to exert such force, so we'll need to avoid this mistake by giving our hybrid good materials that could defend itself, which is the iron sulfides found in scaly-footed gastropod. We'll be focusing on pyrite as in fool's gold, which has a hardness scale of 6.5 moles on the mole scale. Will apply to the exoskeleton, mostly concentrated in the clubs and the head of the hybrid. We'll also be fitting out the exoskeleton as not to make it too thick. The scaly-footed gastropod's shell is separated into 3 layers. The outer layer is the iron sulfides, and the middle layer, the shock absorbent layer, is made of proteins and chitin, which is the same material we find in the shells of crabs. And the last part is calcified, is a sort of carbonized calcium, which is also found in crabs and other crustaceans. We'll be making our exoskeleton way thinner, as the iron sulfides or pyrite is already hard enough to defend our hybrids from most bites and attacks. will make the exoskeleton around the arms just around 1 centimeter thick, and the exoskeleton around the body just half a centimeter thick. The layer of iron sulfides will be just around 1 to 2 millimeters thick, and that will be enough to defend our hybrid from most attacks and most creatures. But to say for that we'll make it way more adaptable, as we'll give the cheapest layers around our hybrid to have the bull against structure of the mantis shrimp, which is more shock absorbent and less prone to cracking. This will help our hybrid in defending itself and not destroying its own clubs while attacking Vex. Given all that, we'll also give our hybrid the heat shock proteins that are able to absorb heat and help our hybrid regulate its body. So example, if our hybrid were to hit another creature, it'll create a bubble and will boil the water. If constantly hitting like this with that much force, it'll cook itself. So given its proteins of the slug, it'll be more resistant to hot waters. With all this, considering the size of a lobster being, before all calculations, 500 kilograms, will thin out its own exoskeleton, and with the thin layer of iron sulfides, our hybrid would just be slightly above 500 kilograms. If given just a normal exoskeleton, it may reach up to 800 kilograms or even a ton, which will be way inefficient to deal with Vex. We've modified its body to deal with such weights. That's why our other hybrids or other genomes were given fat stores and air sacs or air stores, so we'll have a better buoyancy and be able to keep up with Vex. So this is the end of our genomes, and we'll be going on to the analysis and how we'll deal with Vex. And here's today our hybrid. We had a failed couple prototypes early on, but today this is a success. We'll call our iron lobster here Melasiderus onyx, meaning the black iron claw in Greek. But to say and make it easier, we'll call it Krieg. Krieg weighs around 500 kilograms and has a length of 3 meters. Krieg is as fast as Vex and is able to more easily reach his burst speeds in an instant, but weaker than Vex in some aspects, as Krieg isn't able to have long chases such as Vex. But the killer that Krieg has is his clubs, which are like wrecking balls, each weighing 40 kilograms, being able to exert 1 meganewton of force each hit, which would be as strong as a small car crash. Other than the direct hit, it also creates a shock wave, which would be able to immobilize Vex. We'll be running some simulations on Krieg and be explaining how we took care of him.
Krieg was first synthesized a couple months before Vex was ever released. He was a failsafe if we ever needed a biological weapon, which we falsely detected due to some recent happening. But to say we were only able to keep him to his sub-adult form, which is 2 meters long, before we had to send him to the Bay of Bengal, unless he would breach containment and would cause a large fuss around the headquarters. But when we first raised him, we fed him a bunch of mana, similar to what Samson had, which was a mix of mollusk, iron sulfide crystals, and much more seafood. We also created an artificial environment in the Mosasaur enclosure, we added a bunch of sea turtles, jellyfish, and even mantis shrimps and barracuda. With this environment, our creature would be able to live in the Bay of Bengal or have the instincts to live in some place that is similar. So we sent him to the Bay of Bengal after the subadult was formed, and he lived his last days of a subadult in the Bay of Bengal, which he fully matured before Vex ever came.
With Krieg on the seafloor, looking for a meal as ever. As Vex goes by, using her echolocation to detect things on the seafloor. Krieg detects her first, using his 360 vision. But Krieg is more aggressive and more desperate than Vex. He, detecting Vex, his body starts to break down the carbs inside his body, turning it into sugar, getting ready for a brawl. Vex, just swimming there, sees a weird, colorful creature lunging at her. She dodges as her body is more agile than Krieg. As she dodges, a shockwave created by Krieg clubs stunned her for an instant. Krieg, after missing Vex, repositions and hits her on the side. Vex, seeing this, is now bleeding. Her internal organs are now injured, her bones cracked, and some are even shattered. She tries to swim away, but Krieg bursts up to her. He has no choice. She tries to circle Krieg. Krieg, the less agile one, can't keep up. She rams into Krieg on his back, disorienting him and maybe slightly paralyzing him. She bites on him on the tail, dragging Krieg, but she was stunned. She couldn't bite through. This iron exoskeleton stopped her barracuda like teeth from piercing. Krieg curls his body up to Vex's face and with both of his hands locked on and smashed Vex's face with the force of a crashing truck. Vex, her face now destroyed, unable to breathe. She tries to move, but it's useless. Her head cannot focus, her body limp. Now Krieg hits her once more, knocking her out. Now Vex has become one of Krieg's ex-victims.
So these are the afterwards. I think this is a realistic outcome due to Vex's intelligence and curiosity. She wouldn't really see Krieg instantly as prey, and I kind of set it up so it would happen at dawn or at night, where she would have to use her echolocation, and Krieg would have the advantage due to his eyes being of the isopod and the mantis shrimp, giving her 360 vision and also the ability to see in the dark. But to be fair, I don't really see Vex surviving many punches from Krieg. I could see Vex winning if she sees him as prey and starts circling him. There's also a situation where Vex tries to ambush him from his blind sides, where it's a very small spot behind his neck. But that would rarely happen. I don't see it realistically happen. But there could be a situation where Vex's victory is secured, as she could probably bite his tail and ram him a few times to immobilize Krieg. But I don't think she would have that much experience dealing with giant lobsters or things of that sort. So I don't really see that happening much. But Vex winning would be around 640, as I think that Vex has a chance if she could bite in between the armor or joints where the weak parts of lobster are, and bite and cut Krieg in half. But that is very hard, and I don't see her surviving too many punches. So yeah, I don't think this video would get much attention from Goji Guy, but I find it fun. But I am on his Discord, and I could ping him on YouTube, and I probably did. So that's pretty much it. This video is kind of poor quality. I kind of rushed this, but yeah. Please like and subscribe. I promise I'll do something way better this time. This is my first time ever editing a video, and I did it in under 3 days, so you gotta give me something for that. So bye, God bless. I'll be making more videos about the hybrid war soon enough.